Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
This is going to take me some time to explain, but this is a very, very important concept, guys. And first of all, go through this question and then we'll discuss. Total of 100 households are there. 75 have DVD player, 80 have cell phone, 55 have an MP3 player. X and Y are respectively the greatest and the lowest possible number of households that have all the three devices. Now, let's first look at greatest number of households that have all the three devices. This is easier. Can you tell me what will be the greatest number of households that have all the three devices? Greatest number of households that have all the three devices. How do you find out? See, how can it, when will it be the greatest? Sorry? Excellent, excellent. How did you arrive at 55, Harshita? Right. So 55 have MP3, right? So greatest would be that all these 55 are also the ones that have DVD, right? And are also the ones that have cell phone, right? So 55 is the greatest number of households that will have all the three. Are we clear with this? Are you not clear? So this is how the diagram of maximum or the greatest would look like, right? Now the big question is about the lowest. How do we find that out? How do we find the lowest? How do we find the lowest? Well, now this is something that needs explanation. Let us just take cell and MP3. Let's just take cell and MP3. Cell and MP3. $80 have cell and 55 have MP3. Cell is the entire first circle plus MP3 is the entire second circle minus the overlap is equal to 100. Now this is my question. Why are we equating it to 100? Why are we equating it to 100? The thing is that whenever we have, let's say, two variables. So this is what the Venn diagram looks like, right? This is the total, right? This is none, correct? So which means the actual formula is, if the entire first circle is A, so this obviously includes this area. If we add the entire second circle, this again includes this area. So which means this common area, we are double counting. So we have to subtract an instance of the common area plus none gives us total. Are you guys with me? Right? Now, if you look at this, if you correspond it with the information that we are given here, capital A, which is, let's say, cell phone, is how many? Capital A. Cell phone, how many? 80, right? So this is 80. All right. How much is capital B? MP3, sorry, 55. Correct? Minus both plus none is equal to 100. All right. Now, what do we have to find out? What do we have to do? The intent is to minimize both. Do you agree? Because we have to find out the lowest possible households that have all the gadgets. So the intent is to minimize both. In other words, the overlap should be the least. Are you guys with me? Now, from this formula, by the way, we have to find out minimum value of both, right? And by the way, what will both be? What will both be? 80 plus 55 minus 100 plus none, right? So notice the intent is to minimize this value, right? Can we do anything about this? No, it's a constant. Can we do anything about this? No, constant. This is also constant. So to minimize the value of this, what should the value of none be? 0, right? Because we don't want to add anything. That's the only thing we can do. Friends, are you with me? So that's the reason, right? So now notice, since none is 0, right? Since none is 0, because the intent is to minimize both, this is obviously 100. From that perspective, this is where this is coming from, right? Capital A plus capital B minus both is equal to 100. Because for any value of none other than 0, we would not be able to minimize the overlap. Friends, are we clear? Okay. So very, very frequently tested in slightly advanced level questions. So while we did all the theory, but the bottom line is wherever the intent is to minimize, use none as 0. That's the bottom line. Now, from the perspective of cell phone and MP3, we have been able to minimize using this, we have been able to minimize the number of households that would have both cell phone and MP3. So the minimum number of households, given total of 100 households, given that 80 have cell phone and 55 have MP3, what we are saying is the minimum number of households that will have both cell and MP3 is 35. What is the other gadget? DVD. Now, how many have DVD? 75. But what is our goal? To minimize the number of households that have all the three gadgets, right? So now think about it. Out of these 75 households that have DVD, the first household I would like to add in this bracket. What is this bracket? Households that have only cell. By adding the first household here, what am I doing? I am not including that household. I've successfully been able to not include this first household in the household that has all the three, right? So first household I am adding in this bucket. The household that have only cell, I am giving an additional DVD player to them. Second household, again, where would I add in the same bucket? I can continue that for how many households? 45. Out of these 75 households that have DVD player, I'm basically saying that 45 of these households would also have only cell. Are you guys with me? So which means out of 75, I have been able to account for 45 households that do not have all the three. Now, out of 75, if I'm able to accommodate 45 households in cell, how many households am I left with? 30. Out of those 30 households, where would I add the first household? Here, right? Second household, again, I'll continue to add here, and so on till when? 20 households I can accommodate here. So those 20 would have what? Only MP3 and DVD. Are you guys with me? So again, let's summarize this. Out of 75, 45 have only cell phone plus DVD, right? And 20 have what? Now notice till this point of time, I have no overlap in all the three. But now I am left 45 plus 20, 65. The remaining that I am left with, 10, that I have no option but to occupy this space, which is the number of households that will have all the three. So the minimum number of households that have all the three gadgets would be 10. Are we clear with the procedure? So to minimize, this is important, to minimize the number of households that have all the three devices, we'll first prioritize distributing these 75 DVDs to households that have only cell or only MP3. So this shaded area, right? So 65 DVDs are distributed in this way, but then remaining 10 DVDs will have to be distributed to households that already have both cell and MP3. So minimum of 10 households will have all the three devices. What was the maximum number of households that have all the three? We already found this out as 55. So 55 is the value of X. 10 is the value of Y. So X minus Y would be 45. Clear? So this, I consider it to be quite an important question conceptually, because some variation of this is something you can definitely expect, both in quant and in data insights, in statistics type of questions.